And welcome to the Positional Sports Talk Show. Live streaming on Facebook Live, Twitch, and our Positional Sports Talk Show YouTube channel. We are a sports talk show made for the fans, from the perspective of fans, presented by lifelong sports fans. We will provide our opinions and positions on the hottest topics in sports this evening. My name is Big Reg, and I'm joined by my full crew this evening. Got my partners in crime in the building from the jump. What's going on, Jay Wills? How you feeling this evening, brother?
I'm feeling excellent, man. Glad to be here, ready for an exciting show.
All right. We got Ed in the building. What's going on, brother Ed? How you feeling this evening?
I'm decent, fellas. Happy to be alive. Happy to be COVID-free. Ready to go.
Feel you on that. The professor's in the building. What's up, Professor Jay?
What's happening, y'all? I'm blessed, but let me tell you, baby, it's cold outside. Praise the Lord. Let's go.
And last but definitely not least, my brother, J3. How you feeling this evening, brother?
Blessed and highly favored, man. Glad to see another day. Thank you for having me tonight.
And, you know, J3 always low key, but before we get this show started, I got to send a special happy birthday out to my brother. J3 joining us on his birthday. So if y'all could all wish J3 a happy birthday tonight. He's 25 and counting. I'm glad to have you, partner. Appreciate you.
Happy birthday.
Yes, sir.
Papa Joe.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get it kicking. We're going to hit NFL Week 13, college football. Got to talk boxing, NBA, post takes, and some other topics that caught our attention. And, of course, our final post of the evening. We appreciate everybody for tuning in, so sit back and relax and enjoy Post on the Positional Sports Talk Show. So, fellas, we're going to jump right into the heavy end. NFL, Week 12. It was a strange week, but before we get into the games, we got to talk about some of the injuries that's out there. You had Giants quarterback Daniel Jones, who missed the game this past weekend and is already questionable for this weekend, but they're hoping he can get back and play. The big news of the week that I think was Saints QB Drew Brees. They're saying is way ahead of schedule and actually might be available to play this coming Sunday, but more than likely they'll keep him off one more week. But, I mean, that's hard to believe considering the man had like 32 broken ribs.
Wow.
Little exaggeration. Washington lost running.
Not too far off.
Yeah, you're right about that. The Washington football team lost rookie running back sensation Antonio Gibson early in last night's game against the Steelers. And he's dealing with a big toe situation, and I hope it's not too bad. But big toe, turf toe situations have ruined a lot of careers. Ask Deion Sanders about that. And Raiders running back Josh Jacobs, who missed last week's game, is still doubtful, dealing with a bad ankle injury. And Chiefs running back Clyde Edwards-Helaire is dealing with some kind of illness. They say it's not COVID related, but he didn't play in Sunday's game, and they're not sure if he'll play this week. Speaking of COVID, Carolina is dealing with their own little situation again, but the problem is it's hitting one position group. Their wide receivers, DJ Moore and Curtis Samuel, both starters, are on the COVID list due to close contact, so they're hoping that they'll be able to clear in time for this weekend. Ravens get some of their players back, most importantly, Lamar Jackson tonight, but they still going through it. I mean, they've had the worst COVID outbreak in all of sports, I believe, throughout the world. And say that again, Professor?
I said they should still get them Cowboys today.
Oh, wow.
It wasn't the Steelers? It wasn't the Pittsburgh Steelers?
Hey. Y'all starting early. And we're hoping that wide receiver Larry Fitzgerald gets to come back. He's been out a couple of weeks due to his battle with COVID. So, we got to keep these players in our thoughts and prayers because it's real when you get it. So let's move on to the game. So I didn't have this game as a game of the week, but I think we need to just go ahead and get this game out the way so we can let some people release some steam so we can enjoy the rest of the show. So yesterday, an early game kicked off, I think it was 4:30 in the afternoon. The Washington football team went up to the Steel City and put in a gallant fight with them previously undefeated Steelers. Come in with a second half comeback victory, 23-17. And my take of the game is both teams struggled early. It looked like Pittsburgh, who tends to play down to their competition anyway, just didn't have the energy, didn't want to really be there. So the Washington football team did what they had to do, and I got to give hats out to Alex Smith,
Yes,
who put it together in the second half. Tight end Logan Thomas had a monster game. Former college QB who's converted himself fully into a legitimate NFL tight end. If he keeps improving, he might have some Pro Bowls in his future. And I don't know what was wrong with the Steelers defense, but I think they didn't realize that running back J.D. McKissick was, coming out of the backfield to catch passes because he sure caught like 10 balls and constantly got, good first downs. So, I mean, that's all I got on. I'm gonna leave it alone.
We waiting on Ed. Come on, Ed. We waiting on Ed.
First of all, Logan Thomas might be a pretty good tight end, but if you follow the Steelers for any amount of time, you can go back as far as going back to Cowher. They don't cover tight ends. It's just a fact. That's one of the Achilles heels of the team. That's why New England was Gronk probably has like 3,000. I mean, like he probably made his Hall of Fame career based on Pittsburgh. Kelsey, all the top tight ends go off on Pittsburgh. But what I saw last night, I was actually watching the Peanuts. Like Lucy and Charlie Brown. Seriously, that's what it reminded me of. Look, the basic principles of football is run. There's 5 of them: run, tackle, block, catch, kick. That's it. And Pittsburgh does not have any receivers as far as at the tight end position and or the receiver position that is is not in the doghouse with Tomlin that you see on the field. Number 18 and Jamani, you can Professor, you can assess to this.
Yeah.
I have been screaming about this dude, number 8, Johnson, for weeks now. He can't catch. History is on, for Steeler fans tell you that in 2008, they drafted a dude from Texas, Lyman Swede. Lyman Swede dropped one ball. This was Tomlin was the coach. It was under Tomlin's regime. He dropped one ball and literally never played again, and not only in Pittsburgh, but in the NFL. You got James Washington, the most reliable receiver that Pittsburgh has as far as his hands is concerned. He dropped one ball last year, and he can't seem to get on the field anymore. So what I'm saying is that, and let me not forget about Ebron. Anytime that you have a highly drafted tight end, or you can say any player for that matter. I mean, a top 10. He was the top 10 drafted player in the draft. He came out. I believe he was 9. I could be mistaken. No late. I know he was top 10. It didn't work out in Detroit.
In Detroit, yeah.
He went to Indianapolis. Andrew Luck, got him a chance to redeem his career. He had one decent year in Indianapolis. Then that all went downhill to exactly what you saw last night, drops. And then Pittsburgh says, I think it'd be a good idea for you to come here. Now, mind you, their backup tight end, although he can block, he can't catch a fly. I mean, he cannot catch a cold. And
like he's playing hot potato.
Yeah.
And not Ebron.
Yeah, he look like
and he talks. Like, why would you talk and you can't catch?
He looked like he was playing hot potato.
So all I'm saying is this: look, there's the issues that was exposed last night. For all the world to see, football watching world to see. If you're a Pittsburgh fan, and anybody who's listening or anybody who's commenting can attest to this, if you're a Pittsburgh fan, you knew this date was coming. Last night was it had been building.
Yep.
It had been building. And there's one more boot that's going to drop. I'm sorry, there's one more ball that will be dropping very shortly. I don't want to sound like like a sore loser or like I'm down in my team, because I'm not.
Say what you
But 38-year-old reconstructed throwing elbow quarterbacks cannot throw a combined 103 times in 2 weeks when you're playing 3 games in 12 days. He can't do it. So if this is the coaching that he's getting, or if he's not being coached properly to say, hey, we got to figure out something different, it's all going to go off the rails anyway. And I'm not overreacting.
Ed, 11-1, partner. 11-1.
Okay, but let's look at this 11-1, fellas. Let's look at this. They played a COVID-ravaged Ravens. Okay, let's be honest. They played the NFC East. Let's keep it real. Y'all 4-7. What is y'all record now? 5-7. Y'all 5-7, and y'all lead in the division. So they had the benefit of playing that division, and again their division. I mean, Cleveland is 8-3, but they're still Cleveland. I mean, they're 9-3. I think they are now, but they're still Cleveland. They got Pittsburgh and Baltimore both beat up on them, and then they got to play Cincinnati with a rookie quarterback. So I don't live under no illusions of Super Bowl stardom. I don't. I have no illusion of that. They're 11-1. Okay, that's cool. That's all well and fine. But I'm just being real about it. I'm not being, and I'm not saying, it's only 11. They only lost 1 game. Nah, they lost 1 game, and I see some more in the future.
So with the quarterback whose arm may pop out the socket at any time, questionable plays being called by the coach, do you all think you'll make it out of the first round of the playoffs? Do you think?
Okay, first of all, it all depends. Right now, I've always said this: football is a sport of attrition. Whoever's healthy normally at the end of the year, they win. Even if they're not necessarily the best team for the regular season, normally whoever is healthy at the end wins. Pittsburgh is down their starting middle linebacker, their starting outside linebacker. Who knows if their starting running back is going to come back, because he has COVID and he's dealing with an extreme medical condition that he's faced in life. And they lost their starting right tackle the first game of the season, the first series. So they've and now their starting cornerback is in the concussion protocol. So,
but don't you have 53 people on your roster like everybody else? So when somebody gets hurt or somebody can't play for whatever reason, you got somebody to fill those shoes. Am I missing something?
Yeah, you're missing something. Take Mahomes off Kansas City and call me back. I mean, seriously.
No, I agree with you.
Whoever gets the best players wins. It's the fact. Look, everyone saw that entire first line draft pick, high first round draft, Alabama, blue blood first round draft picks, Mississippi State, Alabama, Ohio State, all drafted in the first round, and you saw the results of that. There's a reason for that. You got better. They had better players.
But let's talk about the Washington football team a little bit now that you got that off your chest, because I'd like to give them a little props.
Absolutely.
There were some questions that we on this, some of us on the show have had about the Ron Rivera hire. I don't think anybody was warm and fuzzy about it, but it was better than what we had. And that's rough. When it's better than what you had, you say, okay, that's good. But me and Professor Jay was going back and forth last night. I see a drastic difference in the attitude of the team and how they play. They never give up in the game, and that's something I didn't see a lot last year, especially during the end of the year. If they got down by halftime, they was at least some of them were packing up their bags and they was just ready for that L. They always fighting. You got a good young nucleus on offense and the defensive line. So they're building. So, I mean, let's give the Washington football team a little props. I mean, what y'all think about their performance last night?
I give them some credit in the fact that there has been a culture shift and a culture change, because Ron made it clear in his first press conference that if you're not on this team with an attitude of winning, he's going to get you up out of here. So that was number one. So he established the fact that he wanted to put a winning culture here back in the nation's capital. So I give him kudos for that. The players that you have on this team, many of them are some of the same ones that were there last year. And my feeling was that, okay, with a regime change, okay, this is where the marker begins. And for me, I don't even compare them to what they did last year, because everybody was sick of Jay Gruden and his antics, and pretty much so was he. He was tired of himself. So he got himself fired effectively and he moved on. The team that I witnessed last year, especially on defense, was one that did not pack up and quit. They just were in bad defensive schemes, Greg Minuski, which kept them out of games where they couldn't get back in. Now, on the offensive side, that was Jay Gruden. Then he got fired halfway through the season. They really didn't have anything in place to come back on the offensive side of the ball. But sticking to last night, could it be that the Steelers were just on vacation and they thought that this was going to be a cakewalk? They come into our house, this is on our turf, they're going to be the same old Washington football team that we normally play. And when they were up by 14 points, they put it on cruise control. Now, they look dirty and nasty, just like they did against Baltimore. But I'm thinking that whole feeling might have been this team not going to fight us back and come back after going up 14. And when they got shot, with Cam, with Sims, with Logan and McKissick, they and Alex, they just kept it coming to the point where, like I kept saying, I was like, Ed, if they keep letting them hang around, they're going to shock them tonight. I was like, I just had that feeling like in the second quarter when we started talking about it, and they actually did what I thought they could do, because the Steelers let them hang around.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. But there's definitely been a culture change. I noticed it after the first game when we upset Philly at the time, when they went and
recorded. And you really call it an upset now, Jay Williams?
Now you can't call it an upset. It's probably just an up worse. It's nothing really to be proud about. I wasn't expecting us to win. It was definitely a guaranteed rebuild year. and it was surprising to see us pull it out. I think what happened is we came from behind, and that's something we didn't see a lot. So one, that was a marker of them having a lot more pride in themselves, especially running out there with the young team, Dwayne Haskins at the time. And coming back, I want to say we were down 14, 17 points. But nonetheless, when they went to film the guys afterwards in the locker room, all of the gentlemen addressed Coach with yes, sir. It reminded me of a college locker room, a high school locker room, where first and foremost, you're going to respect me as a man, and then we'll go on and carry on business from there. I will respect you as men as well, but you're going to respect me as a man. I am the coach. Either you do what I say or you will leave. This isn't college. You're going to listen to the boss or you can get lost. So now that the locker room at minimum is in place, I think you have something to build upon. You picked up Chase Young. You still got Kerrigan on the other side. And I'm sure Kerrigan, he's an eager guy that's willing to teach and lead. I see that, Professor. He's willing to lead and teach. So I know he's pouring anything he's gained and learned over his career, which has been a very, very, very tough career. He's given that all to Chase Young and the rest of the D-line. They're working together. So I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to happen in the future. I want us to get that offensive side of the ball together. What are we going to do at quarterback? Because I don't care how Rivera may feel. We haven't found our answer. Alex Smith doesn't have many years. And what are you going to do with Dwayne Haskins? So we still got a bunch of building blocks to put in place. But I think everyone on the team respects what's going on there. They have pride, they have heart, and they're not just going to sit down and take a loss. They're going to scrap until the last signal it has went off.
All I gotta say is the first half, I said, "Oh hell no, we about to get blown out again." When they ran up 17 points on us, and then the second half they turned it around. Like you said, they kept grinding and they started putting points on the board. Next thing you know, they're getting some turnovers, and boom, 2 field goals and the game over with. Hats off to them, and hopefully they can continue.
And who's that? Sweat that tipped that ball at the end?
Yeah.
He's been playing serious ball.
I think he tipped 3 or 4 balls in the game.
Yeah,
and
team will be doing that on us no more.
Yeah, and the big thing you mentioned in the first game, and it happened in this game, and it's actually been happening in most of the games. They make adjustments at halftime, and they become competitive almost every second half of every game. So they just got to figure out how to start off better, and they can be good. But this is a building situation. And anybody who doesn't think that, even if they can squeak out this NFC least division, they're still in a building mode. So they got to figure out long-term for the quarterback. And Alex could be a bridge next year. You don't have to kick him out the door. He's dirt cheap next year compared to what starting quarterbacks is. You draft your quarterback, trade Haskins if he's not the future, or if you're going to give him a chance to learn under Alex, but make sure you got to do something with that and move on. Let's talk about what I think was the game of the week. The Cleveland Browns put the beat down on the Tennessee Titans. And you can't let the 41-35 final score fool you. It was 38-3 at halftime. And they just put it on cruise control and coasted it home for the W.
Yep.
So the big question out there is, does that make you a little more confident in Baker Mayfield because he threw 4 touchdowns in the first half?
No.
Are the Browns for real?
They for real. Baker Mayfield, I think he's still a work in progress. I think that he has silenced some of the critics of his game. I think he's been able to settle down at times. Footwork still has to be worked on, and he still makes questionable decisions at times. But he is a better quarterback than he has been when he first got in the league. And now that he has bona fide weapons, I mean, when you have Chubb and Hunt, I mean, in the backfield, Steelers could have used at least one of them last night. It would have helped. But when you have those guys and then Beckham goes out, but you still got Landry and you still got the tight end, I forget his name. I mean, he doesn't have any excuses. Now, whether they can hold on to that second spot in the division remains to be seen. But if the Steelers do collapse, Ed, could you imagine the Browns taking the?
Ain't no collapsing happening. Y'all
Browns-
getting carried away. Y'all getting carried away.
Baker Mayfield made better decisions. That's all it was. He made better decisions. He didn't force anything. He allowed the game to come to him, and he performed like he should. Plain and simple.
Yeah, but Tennessee has the worst third down. They have the worst third down team in NFL. Their cornerbacks suck. Their linebackers suck. They don't have no pass rushers. The two pass rushers that they depended on, they brought in to lead them this year, Clowney and Beasley. Well, Beasley's not even on the team anymore.
Clowney's hurt. Yeah,
so they have Jeffrey Simmons in the middle, Evans the middle linebacker. That's it. They don't have anything else. But getting back to Cleveland, this is not anything against Tennessee's defense. Although again, it says it sucks. But Cleveland is not winning that division. I don't care. There's no way. I don't care.
I don't know.
There's no way they're going to win that division.
It all depends on what the Ravens do, because for the last couple games they've been struggling. Their offense has been struggling.
I will put it on record. There's no way that Cleveland is going to beat Baltimore. There's no way.
I hear you talking.
Baltimore and Pittsburgh both punched Cleveland, squaring them out, and they still got to see both of them.
Yeah.
To end the season, and they have another tough game in their Final Four. So yeah,
if Pittsburgh played like they did last night, don't sleep on them.
But they won't play like that against Cleveland.
You sure about that?
Just like they didn't play like that against the Ravens. That defense isn't going to play the same way.
Okay.
But if all first of all, the defense, Pittsburgh's defense didn't play bad. They were on the field a lot. They got tired at the end. They were undermanned, but they didn't play bad. Washington had 40 yards. They had something close to 300 yards passing, and they had 40 yards rushing. The defense wasn't the reason Pittsburgh lost that game last night.
Yeah, the young man that Dupree's spot played pretty well last night.
He's a bum. I didn't hear his name all night. I didn't hear his name all night.
He was making tackles. Dude, you got to get him some credit. You just mad, man.
No, I'm not mad. Did you see TJ Watt playing last night? That's how I'm used to seeing. That's the production I'm used to seeing.
I didn't say he was Bud Dupree. I said he played all right last night.
TJ Watt is.
You can't use the name Pittsburgh Steelers right now in front of Ed. You got to say the team
or BJ. They fired up.
Nah, you can say TJ Watt. You can say
TJ Watt was a monster last night.
Mm-hmm.
He was a monster last night. He might be the defensive player of the year.
Yeah, that's what his brother said. JJ Watt was tweeting.
He was getting it in.
Let's move on to the other 11-1 team in the AFC. Kansas City Chiefs beat division rival Broncos 22-16. That was another game that the score makes you think it was a close game, but I think Kansas City's bored right now. They trying to, they do what they need to do to win the game, and then let's go at home. And I think that might catch up to them if they don't put it in high gear before the playoffs start, because if you keep shutting it down and playing when you really want to, sometimes bad things happen. But did y'all see the catch, the touchdown that wasn't a touchdown?
Yeah, by Tyreek, yeah.
Tyreek didn't even realize he caught the ball.
It hit the ground and bounced back up. That's why he never said anything. And Andy Reid was like, why you ain't saying nothing?
I mean, that tells you how bad they are. They catching touchdowns and don't even realize it. That's how in cruise control they are.
And ain't even missing the points.
Right.
Nope.
But do you guys think the Drew Lock experiment should be over officially? Because he sucks.
Let's go to the root of that. What quarterback has John Elway brought into Denver, with the exception of an old Peyton Manning that worked? And that worked for 1 year till his arm fell off.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's the curse of Tim Tebow.
Coordinator.
Nobody.
The curse of Tim Tebow. I think.
You know why that happened.
Wow.
No, it's the curse. It's the curse of Tim Tebow. They did him dirty and threw him in the trash can for Peyton Manning. which probably, you know, that, I mean, whatever. You didn't have to throw the man in the trash can. But, yeah, and so they haven't had a quarterback since.
And you know his history with Colin Kaepernick. I think that's biting him too.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
So let's talk about the other upset. The New York Football Giants went across the country.
I should have known. I should have known Monday night wasn't gonna go well.
What is going on with Russell, man? What is going on?
Hey,
We talked about this, J3.
Quiet
Hey,
as
he's
it's
taking
kept.
too many sacks.
Right. The offensive line is falling apart. And Russell's putting too much on his shoulders, trying to do everything. But the New York Giants are playing good football.
Alpha board.
Yeah.
If you look at their last 7 games, they're 4-3, and the 3 losses were by a total of 6 points. And then they went and beat a game with 2 ex-Washington football team players in starring roles because their starting QB was out. So y'all got a chance to see your boy Colt McCoy out there.
Colt McCoy. Wow.
Hey man, Colt
And-
didn't look too bad.
Wow.
You're right. And
Right.
then a flash from the past, my man Alfred Morris got in 2 TDs, smacked a couple of home runs. I mean, the Giants are legit, and their defense has been top 5 for the past 6 weeks. So,
Man, just because they won a couple games don't mean they're going to be the best team in the East, Marcus. Get off of that, bro. Come on,
I
man.
know, but this goes back to what I was saying about the Washington football team. If you look at that line, their defensive line, they have Leonard Williams, who is a top 2 or 3
top
pick.
5 pick, yeah.
You have the big boy Dalvison or whatever his name is from Alabama. He was a monster at Alabama. How he lasted to the second round, I don't know. And then you have on the other side, you have that monster from Clemson, Lawrence, who got suspended his last game and for PEDs. But yeah, so they have a little talent on the team. Hey, Professor J, is Alfred Morris my age?
He's only 30, man. He's only 30.
Yeah, he's young. He's young.
He seemed like he's been in the league forever.
Nah, but the thing is, he got thrown in the trash after RG3 left, and then he went to Dallas and couldn't get any time behind Zeke Elliott. So
Right.
he ended up on the Giants practice squad. But dude still got some left
He
in the
looked good.
We should have never let him go, in my
Right.
opinion.
Right.
We should have kept him.
That's Jay Gruden for you.
He was a true workhorse. True workhorse.
They looked at him like a combo deal that he couldn't run.
And that's how stupid Jay Gruden is. Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
I hear you. The Buffalo Bills beat the 49ers. All I got to say about that is Buffalo is going to win the AFC East. Josh Allen is quietly a top 5 MVP choice. He's got over 3,500 yards, I think, so far this year. He's got close to 30 touchdowns, if not 30 touchdowns, only like 5 or 6 interceptions, plus the rushing yardage. I didn't believe when they drafted him early because he couldn't hit the side of a barn door in college. He was overthrowing people by 10 yards. He just had that huge rocket arm. He could throw it 65 yards, 70 yards down the field. But good coaching. Brian Dable, an Alabama assistant, got his hands on him, fixed his footwork, worked with him. Buffalo's for real. And Buffalo is not going to be a team you want to see in bad weather because they built for that.
And I'm not going to say any names. At the beginning of the year, some fellas on our broadcasting team laughed me out because I said Josh Allen was going to show his fruit and his labor this year. And every single week, except for maybe 2, he's been lighting it up. And I almost came back and beat you last night, Jay Wills, but based off of his performance. in fantasy. But yeah, the Buffalo Bills are going exactly as he goes, and Stephon is looking good. You know, they got the young running back. I mean, that team is looking prime. Not only are they going to take that division, but like you said, Big Red, don't nobody want to see that Buffalo Bills team in January when it's cold and those blizzard conditions are swirling through. He is equipped. He just got on the list with Cam Newton last night for rushing and passing touchdowns in his first few years in the league. Man, dude needs some respect on his name. That's all I'm saying.
Yes, sir.
Speaking about respect and MVP, that bad man, Mr. Aaron Rodgers, was at it again.
Wow.
He put a hurting on them Eagles, but that wasn't the story.
Yes, Jalen Hurts.
Did y'all watch how Carson Wentz was playing? He was hearing ghosts. There were times when the pocket was getting a little tight, but it wasn't closing, and he was panicking. He's like a shot football player, a shot quarterback who's been hit too much.
We talked about that.
And finally they tried to, save him from himself and slid in rookie, former Alabama, Oklahoma QB Jalen Hurts. And the offense improved.
Drastically.
Things start moving. Jalen start using his legs. All of a sudden, they made it a game until Mr. Aaron Jones said, let's shut this down and put them out their misery with a 77-yard TD run. But that was enough for the coach to finally feel comfortable enough to pull the trigger today and announce that Jalen Hurts will be starting his first game at QB for the Philadelphia Eagles this coming Sunday. And the $120 million man is being benched.
Hope you happy, Chris.
You know what I don't understand about this?
What's that?
The thing that makes me has me confused is, if you recall, when we did our little draft review or preview, and then Philadelphia picked Jalen in the second round, and we got on here and was like, yeah, he has a chance, he might play and what have you. If you watch the national media narrative on that, all they said was, oh, there's no way Carson Wentz is going to not play. Oh, my, they're just getting him to be a gimmick, a little back. And I'm like, dude, Carson Wentz is on his way out. It's economics. And look, they'll eat a couple dollars if they have to, but what they won't eat is L's. Right. No, that franchise, that's a Super Bowl winning franchise. They know, and Philly's a tough town.
They were a Super Bowl team.
Well, yeah, they have one in the cupboard. Cleveland doesn't. So, but anyway,
shot fired.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that they didn't draft that man in the second round for him to sit down all year. That wasn't going to happen. They were going to let this Wentz thing play out. They probably preferred he got hurt so they wouldn't hear the whistles in Philadelphia. But now that they performed horribly, it's easy to drag them out. And yeah, they've had some injuries along the offensive line, but Wentz, and we talked about this, Wentz is just a battered fighter. He's a battered fighter. He needs to sit down for a while.
Seemed like the receivers was running harder for him. When your quarterback now has some pride and he's ready to throw that ball, you can tell the receivers was putting themselves in position. We gonna yak yards. I don't care what's happening. You're not bringing me down. So you absolutely right. Let's change the culture in there. Yeah.
You see that in Washington, don't you? With Alex Smith in there, just like everybody's routes are a little crisper. They get open and they making the catches. Yeah, the quarterback makes a difference. It does.
Now I got to interject. The thing is Cam Sims should have been playing 2 years ago.
Oh, we know that, and I was one of the ones that was saying be on the field.
Number 89 shouldn't have been on nobody's practice squad. He should have been a full-time, at the least the third receiver on that team. I digress.
So it'll be interesting to see what happens with Jalen, how long they will allow him to start. Will it just be a 1 week situation, or are they going to let him play the last 4 games? But the Eagles got a problem. They can't cut Wentz, because if they cut him, it would cost them $59.5 million against their cap.
Oh,
So they can't do that. The only thing they can hope to do is trade him. And who's going to pick up his? Since he's already got most of his bonus, he's actually on the books for only $25 million.
Dallas.
Dallas.
Yeah.
So if they can get somebody that's willing to trade for him and just give him anything, but take that contract off their hand, that's the only way they're getting out of the Wentz deal. And if he's on the team after the third day of the league year next year, he gets his $10 million bonus, which basically guarantees most of his money for the following year. So then you're stuck with him for 2 more years. So,
Hey, Big Red, we just talked about it. Package him up and send him to Denver. John
That's a good choice.
that's a good point.
Hey,
That is a good point.
Yeah, that's a real good point. Hey, another idea is how they go about hiring coaches. They don't, who they hire and who they don't hire. So Dave O'Brien, he'll be back. He'll be back somewhere. He'll trade for him.
He gonna go to Dallas. Watch. They picked up Andy Dalton. They gonna pick up Wentz.
Chicago Bears need a quarterback too. But I hear you.
Oh yeah, he's an upgrade over there.
Our last game we're gonna talk about before we move on to another subject. I got to give hats off to the Saints, 10-2, leading the NFC. Sean Payton needs some mad props because that man is currently 8-0 over the last 2 seasons without his starting quarterback, and he's done it in 2 totally different ways. But your boy Taysom Hill actually was dropping back this past Sunday, and delivering a pill like a quarterback.
Yeah.
I was like, what the hell? I'm
Coaching.
serious. Yeah, that's real coaching. Peyton been saying that he could play the position, but nobody believed him until last week when they saw him actually doing 3, 5, and 7-step drops and delivering the ball on time. And he said after the fact that Drew Brees has been a big help because Drew Brees has been helping him with his footwork. So maybe Taysom Hill is the bridge for the future for him.
And it also helps that you got a strong offensive line too. I mean, come on, man. Did you see how long he had to throw the ball? He had at least 5 seconds per pass. That's a lot of time for a quarterback.
Yeah,
That's because his offensive line.
All the way. That's all. He can tuck that ball and learn how to eat a sack or get rid of the ball, because that turnover would change the momentum of the game because they was about to blow Atlanta out. But then when he turned the ball over right in the red zone, Atlanta came down, scored. That kind of shifted the whole momentum of the game. But yeah, he threw 2 lasers in that game for touchdowns, and I was very happy with that production.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So hats off for you football fans tonight. We got a Tuesday night treat. Cowboys at Ravens, tipping off at 8:05. So y'all can catch that after the show. Week 14 matchups to look forward to. Patriots at Rams Thursday night. So you get Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday this week. Chiefs at Dolphins Sunday at 1. Cardinals at Giants Sunday at 1. Vikings at Bucks Sunday at 1. Colts at Raiders Sunday at 4. Washington at 49ers Sunday at 4:25. The nightcap is the Steelers at the Bills Sunday at 8:20. And then Ravens Browns Monday night. Good. I mean, man, it's a good football weekend.
Ooh, Steelers Bills.
Let's hope we get to see the games.
Yeah, barring COVID.
Let's hope we get to see the games. It's still early.
Sunday will have to make up for Saturday, because unfortunately the Saturday slate of football has just been crushed.
Yeah, speaking of COVID, Big Red, real quick, I just saw from Bleacher Report, shout out that Dez Bryant got COVID.
Baltimore.
Another Raven.
Right, another Raven.
Well, at least he got 2 games in.
Yeah. Did we even see him play?
Well, we need a tight end. We need a tight end. Maybe we can. We do. He can play tight end. Ebron don't block nobody.
You wrong, Ed. You wrong.
We can't,
Ed.
man. Shoot, I'll call Dez right now. Hey,
COVID and all.
I know he can catch.
So let's switch it up to college football. I mean, The biggest game of the weekend was actually BYU against Coastal Carolina. That was an excellent, well-matched game. They're not Power 5 level teams, maybe lower level Power 5, but them boys played their behinds off, and I got to give hats off to BYU. They found out Coastal Carolina couldn't play that game, that the game against who were they going to play? Liberty was canceled because Liberty had the COVID outbreak. BYU heard that. They put their truck with their equipment on the road that night before they even finalized an agreement to play Coastal Carolina.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Worked out the agreement late Wednesday, early Thursday, flew across the country to play a game, and put on a good show. For a team to do that, they end up losing, but it was a great show. And they got tackled at the 1 yard line on the final play of the game to take over. It was a great show. So, hats off to BYU and Coastal. Both of them should get a New Year's Day 6 game, but they're not college football already. Hey, what you think about your boys, Ohio State?
Man, that's going to be the question of the year, or maybe years moving forward. So as of today, Ohio State's game against Michigan this weekend has been officially canceled because Michigan is suffering a COVID outbreak, right? So Ohio State has played 5 games. Now, per the Big Ten, their own conference, they decided that they weren't going to make up any games that were canceled, and B, their bylaws state that if a team does not have at least 6 games, they are not eligible for their championship. Meaning that Ohio State now sits at 5 official games, and they're not going to play any more games. They've already said they're not going to make them up. So that therefore you're going to have the second place finisher, which I believe is Indiana at the time, taking their place. I could be wrong on this, but irregardless, the real implications is for the college football playoff. Do the voters decide, say for instance, if the Clemson and Notre Dame game this weekend is flipped and Clemson prevails, you still going to have you got to put Notre Dame in there, you got to put Clemson in there, because you're going to have a champion and you're going to have a 1-loss Notre Dame team, that 1 loss being to the team that you beat who had previously been number 1. So they're in. Then you're going to have to decide between Alabama or Florida. If Alabama wins, you're really going to have a debate, because you're going to have a 1-loss, 10-win team. Well, 9-win
Bama
team.
getting in.
Well, hold on, Bama, and then you're going to have the second place finisher, maybe Texas A&M, with 1 loss. So we're going to see. You can't put a 5-win team in the playoffs. And I know people that like Ohio State. I actually, I don't not like them. But I cannot see myself putting a 5-win team in the playoffs when these other teams literally suffered through 10, 11, some 12 game seasons. Right. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah,
they shouldn't play. Shouldn't play. That's the reason why you got your bylaws. So you stick them by them.
Not enough games.
Nope.
Well, are they going to stick by them? That's the question.
But what's the purpose of having the rules if you're not going to stick by it?
Well, they had rules before, and they said they weren't going to play, and then all of a sudden they played. You've actually got other coaches who've already spoke out last week because they had a feeling Michigan wasn't going to play. Michigan says we know they have a COVID outbreak, but some people are hinting that maybe Michigan doesn't want to take another Ohio State L, so they're not in a rush to get back.
Well, they haven't beaten them since 2011.
So you've got some coaches from other teams in the Big Ten saying they should change the bylaws that they made, because they just created them for this year, and let Ohio State in, because Ohio State's their only chance of getting anybody into the playoffs.
Well, we had this
playoffs is money.
And that's what we was talking about before the season started. Because you remember, at first the Big Ten, I think they were, and along with the Pac-10, they were the last conference to come back. I think the Pac-10 was last, and then the Big Ten came right before them. But the reason that it's been speculated that the reason that they even agreed to a season was to get Ohio State into a playoff and that revenue sharing that, because it's not just simply that team. Whatever conference, say the SEC or the ACC. So if the ACC gets 2 teams in like they will this year, more than likely, that's double revenue that they have to share amongst the whole entire conference. And with the shutdown of the leagues last year, as far as the NCAA basketball tournament, a lot of these schools are hurting, and they want that money, that TV money. So don't be surprised if we wake up Sunday or Monday and they be like, "Oh, Ohio State's in there. Something fishy's going to happen." Don't you think money's going to win in the end?
Absolutely.
We all know that. We already know that. Yeah.
Show me where money loses.
I did see something on social media, and they suggest that if Ohio State want to get their 6th game in, they should go ahead and step up and play Texas A&M, because Texas A&M had their game canceled this weekend, and show if they really ready, if they really want to play.
That'd be interesting.
So I doubt if that'll happen, because I don't think they want to deal with an SEC team possibly twice in the season. But we'll see. Speaking about the SEC, we're not going to talk a lot about the game. Bama crushed LSU and get back. And that man, Mac Jones and Devontae Smith are looking like they might be Heisman and Biletnikoff winners this year. I did have one question, though, and especially for Professor J, but all y'all. What do y'all think about the ACC's decision to change the rules, and they took away the game this weekend that Notre Dame and Clemson was supposed to play to give them a week off so they can prepare for the championship game?
I love it.
I love it.
Straight cash, homie, huh?
I love it.
I mean,
SEC should do the same thing.
Ohio State in that Notre Dame and Clemson get a week to rest.
Yeah.
Again, what's the purpose of having rules if you're not gonna follow them?
It's 2020, man.
Rules are made to be broken.
2020, all the rules out this year.
Wow.
So for this weekend, you got number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, and number 7 all off this weekend. 2 and 4 due to the ACC not letting Clemson and Notre Dame play. All the other teams are out because of COVID cancellations. So rough college football weekend, with the exception of the game, Army-Navy.
Go Army.
Navy.
Gotta look. That's my favorite game of the year, just to see hopefully they'll be able to have the pageantry and have the soldiers walk in. I'm not sure how that's going to work with COVID, but I mean, that's just a fun game. You got people that are going to put their lives on the line for this country and go out there and give it everything they got to play football. And I just love it. So I watch it every year.
Yeah, I think they're going to do the pageantry because they got a special guest coming to the game as well. So, and you know how he likes, all that stuff.
No, really?
But
Yeah.
irregardless of the pageantry, the game is going to be held, which is only the 7th time in the 121-year history of the Army-Navy game. It's going to be held in West Point, New York. So it's going to be beautiful. Their campus is beautiful. Yeah. And so that alone is reason to tune in just to see how beautiful it. They might even have a little snow in the background. But I go with Army this year too. They should win the game.
Hey, Big Will, we see you go Navy out there. We understand. We understand. We ain't leaving you out.
All right, I'm with you, William. Go Navy.
In some coaching news, Oklahoma assistant Shane Beamer, and yes, if you're a college football fan, that is the son of the Hall of Famer Frank Beamer, is going to be the next head coach of the South Carolina Gamecocks. So congratulations to Shane Beamer, supposedly young up and comer. So we will see. But coming to the SEC, That's hard work, bro.
Yeah, definitely.
Speaking of hard work, go ahead, Ed.
Oh no, especially when you're the little brother of Clemson. But that's all. That's all I was gonna say.
Ooh,
True story. Speaking of hard work, hats off to my man Earl Spence, who returned to the ring after a 14-month layoff due to his horrific one-car accident. I don't know about y'all, but you couldn't tell he'd been out of the ring for 14 months, with the exception of, I think it's maybe around between the 6th and 8th round. You could see that he was a little winded for a while, and he kind of paced himself for the latter rounds. But Earl Spence kept his word. His first fight back, he fought Danny Garcia, who he had said in his last fight that he was going to be his next, instead of doing the tune-up after that crazy accident he had, which he possibly could have lost his life. And he put it on Danny Garcia. He kept coming forward, put the pressure on him, and Garcia was trying to counterpunch back and forth and trying to catch him, but Errol Spence looked good. What y'all think?
I saw the fight, and I'm gonna tell you, Errol Spence did. He actually commanded the fight the whole 12 rounds. I think he got out a little gas probably around the 9th, 10th round, but then he sucked it up and kept on moving. Garcia, he just tried to counter the whole fight. He didn't really have any offense, and it showed. And when you look at the points that they actually scored the fight, he definitely lost. Well, and if you actually saw the results of his face, yeah, he definitely lost the fight. But again, hats off to Earl Spence. He did his thing.
Yeah, nothing more to be said there. I'm just thankful because y'all know some of our concerns going into this fight. We were just hoping that, he didn't get injured or anything, but they're a good fight.
So that sets up 2 possible fights. Spence Porter, part 2. Porter's the mandatory for his 2 belts. But the big one, Crawford versus Spence, which it would be for the pound-for-pound title and the welterweight championship, unified the welterweight championship belt. So I'm hopeful we get that in fall 2021, because it sounds like Crawford is trying to make moves to get out of his top-ranked contract. So I think he might have one more fight that he has to do under top rank, and that'll probably be against the old man, Manny Pacquiao, pick up another belt so they can try to lure him to sign another fight. But I think he'll walk after that because he really, really wants to fight Spence.
Pacquiao's willing to get back in the ring? I may be off. He wants to get back in the ring?
Pacquiao got that belt. Yeah. Remember the last time Pacquiao fought, he took down a young lion and made him look bad.
He did. Slipped my mind. You're right.
And for $30 to $60 million,
I'll fight him.
Right.
Speaking of fighting, like we got a good NFL card this weekend, we also got an excellent fight card this weekend. ESPN, Shakur Stevenson makes his 130-pound junior welterweight debut against Tokakon Clary. Also on the same card, you got Felix Verrejo against Nakatani for a 135-pound bite. On DAZN, Anthony Joshua, unified heavyweight title holder, puts his belts up against Pulev. Also on that, you've got Lawrence Okoli against Jaweski for a vacant WBO cruiserweights. You got the big boys fighting on DAZN. You got the little people fighting on ESPN. And then even Showtime's getting in on it. There's a bout with Showtime with Chris Colbert is fighting Jaime Arboleda for interim junior lightweight champion. So some good boxing going on. So for you fight fans out there, it's starting to heat up and hopefully get us ready for 2021 for some big fights. We got to talk about the NBA, though. And the big trade of last week. The Washington Wizards and the Houston Rockets looked at each other and said, you got some trash you want to get rid of. We got some trash we want to get rid of.
Wow.
Trash.
Wow.
What I mean their contracts.
Right.
Okay.
And both players wanted fresh starts. Harden told the owner basically, and there's some back political stuff about that he wasn't coming back. So you got superstar Russell Westbrook being traded for often injured former All-Pro John Wall. What you guys think of the move, and do you think there'll be a winner or loser? Jay Wills, that's your alley.
I'm hurt that Wall left, but we definitely did improve. If I get my feelings out the way, I think we have a better score. I don't think we have I think John may naturally know how to operate a traditional offense a little better than Russ. I think Russ is like the ultimate warrior. As soon as the bell rings, he's off and running up to the ring and doing whatever he got to do on the ropes. And then next thing you know, it's the fourth quarter and he's making bad passes. But John Wall, on the other hand, I feel like we did lose a tactical leader. But I feel like we gained a lot of momentum, energy, experience, some guy that's going to match the youth of the team. I wonder how him and Bradley Beal are going to feed off one another. John will come down looking for Brad. I think Russ at times can come down and he's looking for his own shot. So I think it will be a bit of an adjustment period. One thing for sure, Russell Westbrook is healthy. That was one of the major concerns I also had with John Wall back in the lineup. I'm excited to see you here, but you had an Achilles tendon and then your ACL, and you had a lot of things going on. You look great in workouts, but workouts isn't NBA basketball. So I think we won this trade, but I am sorry to see my man go.
Yeah, I agree with Carolyn. I don't think that this is a long-term fit for Mr. Westbrook. I think his attitude, his intensity that he plays the game with, and when he experiences losing here, I don't think that would be something that would be conducive for this locker room. And I get it. He's being reunited with his former coach in OKC and Brooks and all that kind of stuff. But I just think the moment that this team hits adversity, and they will, it's not going to bode well for him. Now, did they win as far as talent in the upside of it? Yeah, the Wizards got the best end of that stick. And then it's really not over for the Rockets because Harden wants to go to Philadelphia.
Harden want to go to the strip club. Let's be real.
Exactly. But really, I do think that his overall attitude and the way that he approaches the game, like you said, he's the ultimate warrior. And what do we know about the ultimate warrior? When things didn't go his way, he tore stuff up. And I just see Westbrook being the same way, and next year he'll be in another uniform.
Without a doubt.
I think
it's going to work out.
Actually enjoy that there's not heavy amounts of pressure that he usually has to deal with year in, year out to make it to the big stage. He may actually be able to take it another level without all that pressure on his back. He has a gentleman in Bradley Beal that just came from, I feel your face, J3. He's definitely a winner. He wants to be mentioned amongst the greats. But sometimes, when the media is all over your back, you were former MVP, you got traded to one team, and you've been traded to another in back-to-back seasons. He may just want to cool out for a minute, have a productive season and cool out. I don't know. But I wouldn't put it past him. Because you've been under a lot of scrutiny. You like the Los Angeles Clippers, y'all was supposed to make it out the certain rounds and you didn't. So they've been tearing you up. They've been talking trash about you since KD left, joined up with the Warriors, and saying you can't do it by yourself. I think this may be the first year in a little while where he may be able to play ball without a whole bunch of scrutiny and pressure on his back.
But Jay Wills, does Bradley Beal actually want to stay here?
And see, that's the good point, though. It doesn't matter. If it's not working early, they can flip Bradley Beal by the trade deadline and still get a lot of stuff for him. And you've got Westbrook with a young team who can teach them how to compete hard.
Is Westbrook that kind of dude?
Right, yeah.
Who y'all talking about?
The Jimmy Butler type that he gonna put cats under his wing and actually.
I don't see that happening.
Westbrook took the Oklahoma City team after KD left them and took them to the playoffs. They couldn't win in the playoffs because they didn't have enough personnel.
They had some vets on that team, though.
But
what's he gonna do with the Wizards then?
The Wizards in the East, an easier division.
Yes.
We make the playoffs, no doubt. We make the
And
playoffs.
Oh no!
If him and Bill click, they could be a number 4, number 5 seed in the East. If they don't click, you're gonna get a player and a bunch of number 1 picks for Bill.
And
it doesn't matter. You got $133 million tied up for John Wall. You're gonna keep John Wall for $133 million over the next 3 years with a bad leg that's been operated on 4 times.
I don't think it's enough ball.
They won that part, but I'm just talking long term. I don't see this working out that way.
I don't see it being enough ball for Bill and for Westbrook. I just don't see it. I don't see how this combination is going to work.
Bill doesn't need the ball a lot. If you want to look at it from a tactical standpoint, Bill doesn't need the ball a lot. He's had the ball in his hand a lot as of recent. That's because John was down. But before that, Bill was Klay Thompson. I'm coming off screens, picks and rolls. Catch me after you drive to the line. I'm kicking back out to the 3-point line. He plays a relaxed sort of game.
So you want to sit up here and tell me you don't think Westbrook's going to come here and want to take this team to the playoffs? You don't think that's what his goals are?
I think he definitely wants to take it to the playoffs, but he doesn't have to have Adrian Wojnarowski, Shannon Sharp, and Skip Bayless in the whole squad on top of his back while he's doing it like it's been the last 2-3 years.
Man, Westbrook gonna suck the air out of that building.
And y'all act like Westbrook don't share the ball. Westbrook averaged a triple-double for 3 seasons, and last year was 3rd team All NBA and averaged 9 assists for Houston, where he barely touched the ball.
We're talking about the Wizards, though.
Dang. Yeah, that's the Rockets. We talking about
No, but
talking about
he's
the
going to
Wizards.
share the ball, and he's going to have somebody on his wing who can hit the shot.
I mean, you can't even compare the franchises.
Okay.
I think he's going to do good in DC. I think he's going to like DC, and I think it's going to be more than a 1-year experiment.
I like your optimism.
What does that mean? 8th seed?
Hey, that's better than no seed.
See, the thing is,
that movie.
Bill knows he's the
I'm used to that.
The problem is Bradley Beal knows he's the missing piece to somebody's championship team. That's the problem with Brad Beal. I can see Russ probably chilling out. Maybe he'll link up with another team in a year or 2 after he's ducked the scrutiny for a while. Then guess what? Hey, I'm back in Houston, guys, or LA, who knows? But right now, Brad Beal knows I can take my 45, 46, 47% from 3, and I can go anywhere and drastically improve any team, East Coast or West Coast. So my concern is Brad, more so than Russ.
Well, we will see how that works out. Not like the Wizards going to win a championship next year. They still a rebuilding team, and I think they understand that. That's why they letting the young boys play. So we will see. But speaking about winning championships,
if the Washington football team can beat the team formerly known as 11-0, then the Washington.
There it is. There it is. There it is.
I feel you.
That's a bazooka.
Speaking of the champs, hats off. You got to give kudos out to the Los Angeles Lakers. Not only did they win the championship, what they did over the last week and a half of getting up for a run of not 1 more, but maybe 2 more championships. They extended LeBron James, gave him a 2-year max extension, so he signed, locked up for 3 years. They got AD to sign the max contract, 5 years. So he's locked in for 4 years with a player option on 5. And then all the pickups that they got, Dennis Schroeder from Oklahoma City. They re-signed KCP, Markeith Morris. They got Montrezl Harrell from across the hall and weakened that team. Marc Gasol, so they got another big in place of our boy, Mr. Funny Man.
Right.
And Wesley Matthews, a wing. So they don't have to worry about the young boy. Lakers look good. If their bodies can hold up, and we know who we're talking about, Lakers got a shot at winning again in 2021.
They building a franchise. Can't be mad at that.
And he probably won't have to work as hard.
Agreed.
He masterminded this move to LA, and it's working out beautifully. Was able to scoop AD, was able to get the contract, so he's still going to get paid. Was able to get younger and quicker. It's almost ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I see these guys. They definitely did what they needed to do to put themselves in position to three-peat. I think they definitely get their 5th. The 6th is in question. They definitely get their 5th. I say that now. The NBA doesn't have all that disparity that the NFL has. The top-tier teams usually win championships, and the losers lose. It ain't that hard in the NBA. And the Lakers did what they have to do. The championship is not up for grabs in the NBA. Trust me.
Yeah.
I mean, LeBron finally got Stephen A. Smith to agree with his moves and stuff like that. So I don't really have that to say. This team looks like a juggernaut. It's kind of like how Kobe ended his career with Gasol, Pau Gasol, and he had a healthy Lamar Odom. And the way that team just operated, man, was just nasty.
Yeah, Rob Pelinka. Everybody laughed at Rob Pelinka. So hats off. Former agent, now super GM.
BJ, who the Lakers gonna lose to, my man?
Pretty much. Don't say nobody from the East.
And I'm not even a Lakers fan. I just who stops these guys?
Yeah.
Hey, Will, the Sixers got 2 players that don't necessarily like each other that are the stars, so they got to figure that out. Much less Doc got to figure out, how to not lose up 3-1, but that's a whole nother story. I'm going to leave that alone.
Right. There's another story I want to talk about with Mr. 13, Paul George, but we can say that for next week.
Yeah, we do that next week because we need some time to talk on it.
Playoff who?
Playoff P.
So, Professor, you ready for your post, partner?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Let's do it.
All right, let's dive right in. All right, thank you. Love you guys. All right, so the real MVP, this is Miss Linda Carter of Naomi Osaka Cancer Institute in Fairfax, Virginia. She was instrumental in Coach Ron Rivera's cancer treatment. See, she was the first face that he saw each day that he came into the institute for treatment. She was always upbeat and positive. Rivera said that she was great. This is important because just like Coach Rivera, even on our lowest moments in life, there's always someone positive uplifting us in our lives during pivotal occasions. Let's save Riverboat and call him Rejuvenated Ron. Thanks, Mrs. Carter, for being an angel. Sleeper alert. It seems that most college football land are discussing another epic battle of Alabama and Clemson for the national title. But Notre Dame could be completely derail those well-laid plans. This Irish team can score points in droves and has the talent to keep with Clemson's high-octane offense, even with Trevor Lawrence. Let's not forget the QB in relief threw for over 450 yards and had a whale of a game. Etienne still was a huge problem, and this game went into overtime. This is not the Irish squad of old, where they could not keep up in points and would get boat raced by teams from more elite conferences. You can bet on a dogfight in the ACC championship. A self-made man, Kansas Jayhawks head coach Bill Self is poised to win another national title, but in an unconventional way. Last year, before COVID hit, many believed that he would make that next title a reality. He has essentially a 4-guard lineup and one big man in the middle. This year, Jalen Wilson will be his most versatile player who can play the 3, 4, and the 5. We will see if Kansas can use this style all the way to the top of the mountain. A tough nut to crack. Zion Williamson, Ja Morant, and Luka Doncic have something special in common. They are the only rookies in the past 2 seasons to crack the NBA's 100 players list by NBA rank. This says a lot about this incoming class of rookies. It's really not their fault. We missed out on the actual super showcase of talent and the NBA auditions with the cancellation of March Madness. Surely this is not an addendum on how many of these rookies can and should perform this year. Stay tuned because I'm sure that some of them will be spoken of on this show in the months ahead. Making a difference. Major League Soccer has a first. The Black Players Coalition has been named MLS's Works Humanitarian of the Year. This is the first time that this award has been given to an organization. This collective of MLS players, coaches, and staff totals over 150 persons. Their goal is to end the bigotry and racism in the ranks of soccer around the world, starting with the United States and Canada. They seek to influence the lives of fans in every community to end this cycle of hatred and discrimination. These are the movements that we salute. It's all about the money, M-O-N-E-Y. There is a new cash cow in boxing, and that is the exhibition game. Not real boxing, but more entertainment. And we pay for entertainment, don't we? Mayweather versus Paul is just that. Not to mention Tyson versus Holyfield. The McMahons have understood this for 2 generations with the creation of WWF, now WWE. Boxing has been slow in resisting this delve into entertainment side because of the purists. But because of the overwhelming popularity of MMA, boxing has to reinvent itself. Tyson versus Jones brought in a nice purse. Floyd would just use his change as gambling money, but some of us will watch because we want to see the drama and in all the hope that it doesn't turn into a fiasco. Another version of the catch. As a rookie, Henry Ruggs III is proven to be every bit worth his draft status. That desperation bomb for a walk-off touchdown should have been the dagger for both Gase and Williams. Ironically, the defensive coordinator takes the fall, and with some satisfaction from Gase, I am sure, because a few weeks ago, Williams publicly criticized his offense. Anyway, Mr. Ruggs will forever be immortalized in NFL Films' constant replay of his catch for the win, a notable beginning for a possible Hall of Fame career. Farewell to a legend. Hall of Fame tennis player Dennis Ralston dies at the age of 78. He was a 5-time Grand Slam doubles champion, one of the initial professional players signed to the World Championship Tennis Tour beginning in the 1960s. Rest easy, sir. Stars just keep rising. Naomi Osaka dominates the grass and clay, but now she can add another accolade to her increasing professional resume. She will be starring in a new Japanese manga comic book series that is co-produced by her sister Mari. It is titled Unrivaled Naomi Tenkaichi, which means world number 1. With the 3-time Grand Slam champion, this represents more fruits of her labor. Esports rocks. With the new consoles hitting the market, Sony and Microsoft are both shredding the market on sales. All of the titles that you have come to enjoy will get much needed boosts as the console technology is keeping up with the more savvy dynamic televisions. The gaming experiences can have come full circle and seek to pull you deeper into the realm of virtual reality. Don't forget about Oculus. A word to the wise, stay safe. People are getting robbed, assaulted, and killed over these consoles. Best bet is to wait after the holidays so that you can safely order and enjoy your console or consoles of choice. Happy competition and happy gaming. That's my post takes. Turn it back over to you, Big Ridge.
All righty, just a couple of things that caught our eye. Congrats to the MLS Columbus Crew and the Seattle Sounders for reaching the MLS title game, which will be also this Saturday, 8:30 p.m. And for you UFC fans, UFC 256 is on this Saturday featuring flyweight champion Davidson Figueroa against Brandon Moreno, and Tony Ferguson against Charles Cowboy Oliveira as the co-main event. All right, fellas, it's time for our final post so we can get up out of here and watch the rest of this football game this evening. Jay Wills, what you got for me?
Everybody stay safe. Continue to protect yourselves. Love you very much. And enjoy the rest of your week.
Big Ed, what you got?
Hey, echoing what Jay Will said, I just want everybody to stay safe, and hopefully I'll see you guys next week just as healthy as I'm seeing you today. That's all I got. Everybody be safe out there.
Appreciate it. Professor.
Thanks for coming out. God bless. Good night.
Birthday boy, J3, what you got for us?
Like always, we appreciate you all following us. Stay safe. You know, it's Christmas holidays, so be vigilant when you are out. Pay attention to your surroundings. Wrap up, mask up, and arrive home safely. Love you. Peace.
Happy birthday.
I'd like to also wish another special happy birthday. Jay Wills is part of a duo of two of my favorite people in the world. He shares this day with my baby girl, G. So happy birthday, baby girl.
Jay Wills?
Hope you're having a great day. Love
Jay
you.
Wills? Jay Wills? Really?
Yeah, he said Jay Wills.
Really?
Did I say Jay Wills? I'm
Yeah.
sorry. J3.
I was
My
born in
bad, my
June.
You know I meant J3. My fault. J3 and my baby Gianna.
Happy birthday, G.
December 8th babies. So happy birthday to both. I hope y'all enjoyed your day. Appreciate y'all. Love y'all. And to all the fans, we appreciate you for tuning in. We know you have other things that you can be doing, especially this time of year. So we thank you for tuning in and listening. We're here each and every Tuesday, 7 p.m. Please check out our live show. If you can't catch the live show, you can catch us on our YouTube channel, Positions on Sports Talk Show. You can catch us on Twitch. You can catch us on Facebook. And coming soon, we will be coming to a podcast near you.
What's out there now? Yeah.
We appreciate you all. If you like the show, please tell your friends, family members, social media network. If you have any suggestions, please let us know. If you have any contacts in the sports world or have ideas for guests we can have on the show, please hit us up. This has been the Position on Sports Talk Shows. Be safe, and we'll see you next week. Peace.
See ya.
Peace.
Great.